I can't wait for this conversation. Let's jump in.
Let's do this.
For those who are patching in and watching this recording, and for those who've been to a Brand Together session in the past, you'll notice there's usually a guest that we welcome on. But Christa and I thought, you know what, today we're going to go in it ourselves. So for those I haven't met, my name is Michelle Lazar, or Michi Grace, as some call me. And I'm delighted to be here with my co-founder of Community Academy, Christa Hall. And Christa, I'm going to kick it over to you to start us off by just grounding us in what is Community Academy? What are we even talking about here?
I'm so glad you asked. What a pleasure. So, Michelle and I have known each other and had the opportunity to collaborate deeply for over 10 years. We've worked together in the context of helping to build a couple of pretty awesome and iconic brands together. And we've always stayed in touch. And about this time last year, Mish came to me with an idea. And I would say within about the first 3 minutes of hearing her pitch, I knew that I was all in. I knew that she was onto something and that there was a big gap in the market and a big opportunity for us to create an online masterclass that teaches the foundations and principles of community marketing. And when we talk about community marketing, what we mean is it's all about taking a relationship-based and experiential approach to building a brand, one connection and one meaningful relationship at a time. So we launched Community Academy earlier this year, and we're just getting ready to kick off our second cohort this spring, coming up in about a week or so from now. And we wanted to hop on here and share a little bit more with you about why we made this and why we think this work is so valuable, important, and even essential, especially in times like we're navigating in the world right now.
Totally agree. I'm so excited for this conversation. First, I'll just share a little bit about what Brand Together is. It's our not a podcast. We decided that, we have so many connections in our network that inspire us and that are actively in this work every day. They're out there building communities, whether it's for, huge brands or small, startups that they're the founders of. And we felt like we want to give the world more access to these amazing humans by way of these Brand Together conversations. But today, it's just Christa and I. We're going to chat with each other. We're going to interview each other. We're going to get some really honest, candid conversation going around, what do we even mean by community? What is it? What's the value of it? And why should more brands be considering this as essential parts of their work? So I'm so excited.
Mm.
Should we dive into the questions, Christa?
Yeah, let's dive in. So, if you've been to a Brand Together conversation before, you know that we typically start off with a few rapid fire questions to get to know our guest, and we're going to continue the tradition. I'll go first, and I have a few questions so that you all can get to know the fabulous Mishi Grace a little bit better. So, first question, Mish, what are you best known for?
Oh, me? Well, you know what? I will say that the feedback that I have received most throughout my career and even just in my relationships in my life is summed up by the word energy. So I have a lot of energy. I have proudly maintained that energy as I get into my mid-life years over here.
Mhm.
But I pride myself in kind of being able to bring that. It's not just energy, it's not just high hype energy. I think it's positive energy. It's sort of being a positive
Mhm.
force in the world.
Mhm.
And it brings me such delight to be able to be that for other people, which is just the feedback that has been mirrored back to me. So I'd say energy to sum it up.
Yes, and how lucky am I that I get to be in your energetic aura as often as I do. I think for me, it really shows up as like
Agree.
optimism, positivity, possibility. I so love that about you.
Love.
Next question. Tell me, what is top of mind for you these days?
Top of mind, you know what? I've been thinking a lot about just how powerful people who are caring for others, in my case, in your case, children, and also
Mm,
caring for or caring about the work that they do. It is
mm,
honestly the work that goes into caring for little ones and then, of course, others in your life is immense. And it's challenging every single day. It is
mm,
rewarding, of course, but I can't stop thinking about just how powerful that makes these humans that are caring for other humans. I feel like
mm.
I, as a mom of a 5-year-old and recently joined to our family 7-month old, I'm like I can do anything. I can literally do anything. Put a task my way, I'm gonna crush it. And so many other, a lot of moms, frankly, that I've worked with, yourself included. I
Mm.
look at you the exact same way, and I'm inspired on the daily. So it's very
Yeah,
top of mind.
no kidding. It takes something. And you talk about caring for other people and caring for this business baby that we're building every day, that we're raising every day. And also, we need to find a way to care for ourselves. And it truly is resilience building, isn't it? It's
Oh
incredible
yeah.
what
I
moms and
impress myself
caregivers do.
every day.
Yeah, you impress me too. Good job. Okay. Next question, last question for you. What's your favorite thing about your co-founder?
You mean you? Okay, I could
Moi.
honestly, you asked me the wrong question because I could go on for days, but I actually, something I really love about you, Krista, is you come to every one of our conversations with such clarity and such
Mhm.
crystal clear insights. You have
Mm,
you've had these aha moments, I feel like every single time we come together. And
mm.
you are so generous with those aha moments with me. You bring them to me in such a clear way. I feel like every conversation we start, you're like, okay, I have 3 things, or this is my biggest insight today. And I just like, yeah, I feel so fortunate to be the beneficiary of all of your brilliant insights on the regular.
Oh, thanks for sharing that. You're reminding me, like, once an operator, always an operator, as I think there's two things you shared. Like, yes, I love to seek inspiration and gather insights, and I also really like to be like organized and have a plan.
Oh, you keep this, whatever it is, ship on the water, you keep the train on the tracks. Like you are our, even though I count myself as an organized, like logistical person, no, I don't even hold a candle to you. So
Oh my
thank
gosh, I'm
you for being
blushing.
that for our business. Okay, I'm
Thanks.
gonna
I
throw
feel
some
so
questions
seen.
back at you. I'm so excited
Okay.
to hear what you're thinking. So, okay, what are you? So, this is something I know that you are so clear on, and let's give the gift to others to hear about what
Mm.
your top 3 core values are.
Oh yeah. It's such a good question, and I mean, I will share my top 3. I have 5 that I love, but one that I keep at the top of my list intentionally is my core value around adventure, and I
Yep.
really need to be creating opportunities for adventure and, like, newness, and also being in, like, nature as much as possible because this is what really, like, fuels me and gives me energy. So, I don't like the status quo. I like um I like to always be taking on an adventure, whether it's like personally in nature or it's in like building a business from scratch.
Yeah, that is an
Number
adventure. I can vouch for that.
right? Number 2 is probably connection. I can't live without it. It feels like life force to me, like connecting with people. I've always been this way. I need connection on a daily basis, and I really thrive when I'm in community and in collaboration and sharing ideas and brainstorming and being with people. And then number 3 is probably contribution, like, or impact. I'm always a little torn between those 2 words, but the point is that I like to be making a difference in the world as often as possible. So let's go with impact, and I'll say, like, I am driven and inspired to do meaningful work in the world that creates, like, ripple effects, um, way beyond myself. And if I am creating something that helps other people thrive or get closer to themselves or closer to their vision, then I feel like I'm right where I'm meant to be.
Amazing. Quick little promo for Christa, and a way that you can get inspired by her is go to our friends at
Mm.
Half Betty and listen to the podcast or the episode titled Hard Nips and Goosebumps, or maybe it's the reverse, but find Christa on the Half Betty podcast and you will feel so inspired. So I recommend that. Okay,
Thanks
my
so
next
much.
question for you is, okay, what's a desire you have for the future?
Yeah, it's such a good question. And this is on my mind right now because there's like all this hype around the like AI revolution and like what is it going to mean? And there's like some fear-based thinking. And there's a lot of like, yeah, there's a lot of sort of below the line negative fear-based thinking about how jobs are going to become obsolete and everything's going to be like operationalized and by computers. And I that really goes against my core values. And I am, I don't know what is about to transpire in, the era that we're living through right now. But what I do strongly believe in is a return to simpler days, simpler ways, simpler practices, and to a more analog life. I'm craving it. I know you're craving it. I don't think we're alone in it. Like, I think we saw a little taste of this in the COVID era where people returned to things like baking and playing musical instruments and spending a lot more time outside, card games, stuff like that. I think that um, you know, there will be some resistance to the AI revolution, and I think it's going to show up in um, meaningful experiences and in creating more and more human
Together.
connection. So I'm really
Yep.
inspired by that, and I want to see this world continue to benefit from and leverage technology in healthy ways. And I want to see more people, um, spending time like off screens and away from computers in like meaningful connections and experiences with others.
Oh my gosh, I'm here for that future, Krista. Count me in.
Mhm.
Okay, I have to ask it not to be non-humble, but what is your favorite thing about your
Mm,
co-founder?
mm. It's a tough question because I have many favorite things, but so I think I'll say what I'm in awe of about you, and I am so like envious of is your incredible design abilities. Like you can take anything and make it beautiful. She really does.
What a
I mean, she
compliment.
takes anything and makes it beautiful. And you have such like, I love your aesthetic. By the way, did you know Michelle has designed like multiple brands for me? um, Different conversation. But you're my go-to for creating beautiful visuals and for clean aesthetic and for bringing brands to life visually. And that feels really like surface level, but it is one of my favorite things about you because it's not my strength. So I love when I get to tap into that part of you. And like that you show up with the quality of energy, optimism, and possibility that you already talked about is like such a gift that I get to be like in your, like I said, your aura on a pretty much daily basis as we build together. So,
Ah,
so many
so
things,
good.
and those rise
What
to
a
the top.
compliment. Nobody actually come to me for design work, by the way. It's not my it's not my trade whatsoever, but it is something I naturally gravitate towards. You're right. So, okay, we are gonna get into the bulk of the meaty questions. That was our warm up. So I think I'm gonna ask you the first question, Krista. Let's go. So tell us about how community building has been a red thread throughout your incredible career.
Mm. Yeah, I love this question because the question immediately takes me back to one of my favorite jobs ever, which is also one of my first jobs. And I think I started like so Community as a Red Thread started at the Horseshoe Bay Boathouse, which is a restaurant in West Vancouver. Um, that I worked at for a number of years when I was going to university, and also as I began like a more corporate career. I kept this serving job at the Horseshoe Bay Boathouse for many years when I didn't have to, because I it's where I learned to fall in love with creating experiences for people. So I would go in and I would work in this like absolutely spectacular location right on the water with I'd start my shift at 4:30 or 5 o'clock, and there would be the most incredible alpenglow of the sea to like of
Oh,
the Coast Mountain Range, and um beautiful arbutus trees, and Howe Sound, part of the Pacific Ocean. And I would have locals and also tourists coming in to um, enjoy a meal that was made up of like the finest local fresh caught sustainable seafood and like beautiful BC wines. And I made it my mission to like make that hour or two a really thoughtful and intentional experience for people. I would connect quickly and easily with them. I'd get to know them. I'd get to hear, what brought them to Vancouver. And it was really where I began to hone my craft of relationship building and experience creation. I won't give you my resume because you can read that on LinkedIn. But in every job that I've had, from starting out my career at Whistler Blackcomb and InfraWest, it was all about creating experiences for people coming to BC and to other incredible resorts in North America. And then I went on to Lululemon, and eventually I landed myself in a role at Lululemon that was responsible for global events and experiences. And I had the privilege of designing and like leading the team that designed and executed some pretty iconic global events. And then I led retail and community with sort of homegrown Sage Natural Wellness. It's a essential oil and essential remedy brand. And I loved working with the team in the context of our stores to really connect deeply with customers and create trust and connection and belonging as a way of introducing friends to the healing power of plants. And so I've gone on to build my own coaching and consulting business. And really, I'm obsessed with creating experiences for people that are at the least memorable and at best transformational.
oh, I love that. That's such a line that we use in our in community academy. I love that you work that in.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, what a cool, yeah, just what a cool career you've had. And I actually didn't know that story about, I knew you worked at the boathouse, but I didn't know that it was such a
Mm-hmm.
like such a, I don't know, like a springboard for you in your career. It's so cool.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you want to do this? You want to alternate, or do you want to keep asking me?
Let's do
I'll
it.
ask
Why
you a
don't you
question.
throw one at me?
Okay, great. Um, so tell me, what why is in this moment in time, and why do you think community building is essential for brands and businesses?
Oh, this is a great one. Okay, well, like you mentioned earlier, me coming to you sort of passionately and enrolling you in this idea of like, let's teach what we know to others. It
Hmm.
The reason I felt like the time is now for this is there has been this era that is now hopefully behind us, in part, where brands, I think, over indexed on, bringing new customers in, focusing on new customer acquisition through paid tactics. So in the world of performance marketing, paid social, Google, putting your money to things that have very, very clear return on investment metrics against them. And that's great. I'm so happy for all of those brands that experienced that, hockey stick growth, especially during the pandemic. They brought in all these new customers. And I think the issue there is that those customers came in, they bought whatever the product was, and then they walked away. So there was no relationship that was built. There was no connection to what the brand story is, why this brand exists, and why, it has sort of a competitive edge over other brands in the same industry. And to me, building community So finding that like common ground that a brand can really rally people around is what future proofs brands. So if you want to be around and be a going concern, not next month, not, you know,
Mhm.
next quarter at your quarterly business review where you've celebrated, short-term results. No, I'm talking you're around in 5 years and, you could walk into a coffee shop and overhear people talking about your brand and have that moment of like, wow, we've done it. You need to be building community. That is my strong belief. I'm very
Mm,
passionate about it. I know you are as well.
mhm,
So, I mean, and then I think it's partially what you talked about. Like humans, we are craving connection. We are looking for ways to
mhm,
bring meaning to our lives that, jars us out of our digital existence, right? We're spending so much time on screens, we're on our phones constantly. Now we have AI tools, and yeah, we have this pressure to like adopt AI tools, I feel. And all of that is fine and dandy, but we have one life to live. And I feel like brands have this responsibility to create those like memorable and meaningful and even hopefully transformational experiences for
mm.
people that actually add value to their lives. So I think that's what I would say. That's why I'm feeling really passionate about this in this very moment in time.
Yeah. Three cheers for long-term loyalty, sustainable growth. And you talked about 5 years, and I'm gonna challenge that and say like 50 years. Like if you're a brand that wants to be around in 5, 15, or 50 years, this work is essential. And does it pay off immediately? No, but that's not the point. And that's what we're here
That's
to
not the point.
teach. Mhm.
Exactly. If you're going into if you're anchoring on community as another short-term growth driver, you've got the wrong mentality because it is not something that's going to be a quick fix. It's not something you can build. Like it's not one of those things that's like low effort, high
High
return.
reward. Yeah.
It is high effort, high investment, not necessarily dollars all the time, right? We know we've built scrappy communities before. We've worked with we've created magic working with little dollars. But definitely the time piece is essential. You have to be investing in building your brand over a long period of time, and not be treating this as like a quick fix.
Yep. And last thing I'll say about this before we move on is like where brands mess up is they invest in community for a minute. And when they get
Yeah,
impatient and they don't see
they go away.
the quick rewards, they bail on it. And when
Yeah.
that happens, they lose trust with their customers and they become transactional. And those customers are going to go find community and belonging and meaning and value and impact somewhere else. So we have seen that all too often.
One more thing that just sparked for me, that I think it's worth sharing here is on the note of, longer term success.
Mhm.
Um, I remember at Lululemon, we were both there at this time, and we had a new leader coming in, over the brand and community division. And, you know, his job was really to inspire the team, right? Like to get us all in the right mindset around growth and how we're going to,
Mm,
bring this brand to more people. And
mhm,
something really, really stuck out for me that I've never let go of, which is
mm,
when we focus on sales, we suck. When we focus on our purpose, that's where the magic happens. And
mm,
to me, um, I've been at companies where we set
mhm,
goals, we declare goals, and the expectation is that every employee rallies to get around those goals. And when those
mm,
goals are transactional, you can just feel the wind just fall out of people's sails internally, which
mm,
then translates to how are you going to like inspire others and convince others to do something that you want them to do when you're not inspired yourself. And so like, we're gonna reach $1 billion in sales, for example, like who's going to rally behind that? Whereas, we are going to deliver our purpose out into the
mm,
world.
mm.
And from there, the sales come and they
Prosper.
genuinely do. They
Yeah.
genuinely do. So this is a philosophy that I feel I feel grateful to have received, and now I want to share it out with the world as much as possible.
It's true. And like vulnerable moment, but like as we're building this brand, when we focus on sales, we suck. Our
Totally.
customers, our audience is savvy. They come to us for community, not for a sales pitch. And we need to remember that at all times. Like,
Yeah.
yes, we have a purpose and we want to prosper. And when we focus on like conversion, they feel it. Our followers feel it. And when we focus on and like our purpose, which is, really to empower more leaders to create meaning and impact through community building in the world, um, that's when we start to
Yeah.
create a following and a vibe.
Build
Mhm.
abundance, as we love to say.
Yeah. Yes. 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 So well said,
Okay,
Mish.
well, thank you. This next question is a definitely a signature brand together
Mm.
question. I just can't wait to hear you talk about this. What is your all-time favorite brand activation?
Yeah. I love this question too, because what it reminds me of is how fortunate I have been in my life to be at the helm of many incredible and transformative activations. Like, what an incredible gift. And there's a concept that stands out to me as being my all-time favorite for a few reasons. And I'm going to talk about the immersion concept that my team and I came, shout out Mila Moody, came up with a number of years ago, probably around 10, to be honest, or maybe a little bit less. Um,
I remember those meetings, Krista. I do. I remember those Genesis meetings of the immersion
mhm.
and your brilliant team coming up with like what this concept could be, what was possible. I love it. Yeah. Tell everyone about it.
Well, I forget exactly what the mandate or the brief was, but I'll just simplify and say it was about creating more new friends and deepening the connection between our brand and some like really influential people out there. And this was before the term influencer became what it is now. But we
Yeah.
wanted to think about how we were going to continue to grow and enter new markets um, in North America, but also internationally, and how we were going to like deeply contribute to and impact um, some influential people who we knew we wanted to have as advocates out in the world for the incredible product that Lululemon designed. And um, what we came up with was an intimate experience. And when I say intimate, I'm talking about groups of about 50 people coming together for a multi-day, I'm going to call it like a retreat experience with a caveat that um, this experience was really grounded in the intention of building community and connection amongst this group of new friends, most of whom, came together for the first time in a new space and location and didn't know each other. And it was also rooted in the intention to um, help them to grow and develop as humans
Hmm.
individually and also as a collective. And so I hesitate with the word retreat because I think sometimes that can like have connotations of like relaxation and yoga and like a spa vibe.
Yes.
And we did that because it's a very important ingredient of the experience. And we also created opportunities for our participants to be in like workshops and self inquiry and self discovery. And we taught them some new distinctions and practices that could help them really hone their vision and understand their goals and get like inspired and really lit up about what they want to create in the world in terms of their like vision and impact. And so we would find an iconic venue. We would bring together some of our global ambassadors in the space of like yoga, meditation, breath work, movement practices. And we would bring our world class leadership development team to, design and facilitate content workshops and programming that would help to help these people to get clear on, what they wanted to create with this like one wild and special life. Um, and we laughed so hard and we cried and we sweat and we bonded so deeply. And I got to be at the helm of a number of these experiences globally. And they were absolutely transformational. And I still feel like deeply connected and bonded to some of the humans that I met. Um,
No doubt.
we might just like each other on Instagram these days, but like I feel a lasting bond. And I know they feel a lasting bond to Lululemon as a result of it because they tell me all the time. Even though the brand has grown and evolved and become much more mainstream, um, these people still feel like moved and inspired by the experience they had with this brand, and it will continue to create loyalty for years to come, I believe.
I feel like that, I mean, transformational was just like popping up as you were talking in my head,
Mm,
as you know, as you kind of grounded it there. And it also feels like something we also talk about, which is like the notion of giving without expectation of something in
mm,
return, right? You're creating this experience without, again, without like then slapping on a pop-up
mm.
shop where, you want every single
Yeah, we were.
customer or every attendee to like buy a pair of yoga pants, for example. I think really like parsing out the like sales driving activities from the
Mhm,
transformational experiences of the brand is
mm,
really key to why those people
mhm.
feel that like true connection to Lululemon, like even, like you said, 10 years down the road.
Yeah, I'm so glad you highlighted that. We would absolutely not be selling at these experiences, and that is critical. And what
Yeah.
we would do is, you know, potentially gift these new friends of the brand, pass on a gift card for them to have them pay that forward to somebody in their life. The opportunity to pop into one of our stores and choose like an item or an outfit, so that they could share their experience of the brand. So we might do something like that. But this was, these experiences were absolutely not about driving sales. And like I said before, 10 years later, these humans are loyal and still feeling deeply connected to Lululemon and shopping there, I'm certain.
Amazing. Thank you so
Mhm.
much for sharing about the immersion, and yeah, what a nice throwback. I feel like Lululemon really was, even though it feels like retreats, like
Yeah,
that's already come and gone, or that's an old strategy. It's like no, that like Lululemon was really at the forefront of
yeah,
designing that type of an experience as a brand. So I love it.
yeah. I have to give a 10-second shout out. I already said your name, Mila, but I will make sure you watch this. And I want to make sure everyone knows how incredibly instrumental Mila was in birthing this concept and bringing it to life. And I just love that I got to play a role in giving her the space, the freedom, the creativity, and the autonomy to dream this up and execute it at like a high global level. I think at the end of the day, we ended up having hundreds of new friends of the brand have these experiences. So good job, Mila. What fun. Such a career highlight for me to work with you on that project.
I'm sure she would say the same. I'm not putting words in your mouth, Mila, but I feel like she would say the same.
Okay, moving
Awesome.
on. Let's see. Well, why don't we stay on this conversation around activations? What's your favorite activation of all time?
I don't know why we do this to ourselves because it is really such a hard question to answer. I'm gonna like divert a little bit from
Mhm.
actual experiences, even though again we've like I feel the same. We've been so fortunate to be a part of so many. But when during my time at Athleta, we were I was involved in building one of our categories, which was athletic girl. So it was aimed at young girls in their really impressionable formative years. And like again, talking about being rooted in purpose and mission, we were really setting out to sort of close that confidence gap that occurs for girls at that critical age. Um, we saw through data that research and data that girls' confidence really starts to plummet once they hit those years. And so I had the great pleasure of coming up with how are we going to essentially, impact more girls, impact the lives in a positive way, and be positive forces for more girls out there. And what we came up with, I thought it was pretty genius, was this kind of bold concept of how can we partner up in a meaningful way with someone who these girls like look up to, are inspired by. If they had a poster up in their room, it would be of this person.
Hmm. Hmm.
And some of you could probably guess who I'm talking about if you know the brand and you know their associations. But Simone Biles was the answer. It was, we need to partner with Simone. And it was a tall order. She was already signed with other brands. And we had to kind of convince her, like, come work with us, the smaller, more humble brand at the time. And we managed to do so in a really, really powerful way.
Hmm.
Simone joined the roster, which was very small at the time, of these sort of iconic women who, again, were there to inspire more, to really like deliver the mission of Athleta to bring the power of she to life. And yeah, it was super cool to partner up with Simone. Yes, of course, there were like incredible ways in which that we were going to deliver brand awareness through this partnership because Simone is a household name. But at the same time, what I loved about it most was the possibility that it delivered for our
Mm.
brand to create these like meaningful experiences for those young girls. Like, how can we, because of this relationship with Simone, how can we, scheme and have Simone show up at a gymnastics training club,
Mm.
unannounced, and like spend some time with these young gymnasts and deliver a really inspirational, well, just like an unforgettable life moment, right? Getting to meet their absolute
Mm.
icon, and then creating products that would
Mm.
transform in their own right by way of inspirational messages from her woven into the products themselves, so that when the girls are wearing these garments, they're seeing those messages day in and out, and they're feeling
Mhm.
that new level of confidence that maybe they wouldn't have accessed. So it was a really, really cool partnership that had, you acknowledged Mila for the immersion. Like, there's
Mm.
so many people I could shout out for how much it took to to bring this partnership to life and bring the associated activations to life. When Simone was kind of off to the Olympics, it was like, how can we show up for her there?
Mm.
And yeah, it was amazing. So I think that one really stands out to me, is how Athleta partnered with Simone for the sake of delivering the mission towards more of that girls in that age range.
I love that. It's such a good example, and I'm so glad you pivoted like away from an experience and more so to like a relationship and a campaign, really. Um, because I think it shows like the diverse ways that community building can come to life. And it stands
Yeah.
out to me as like a totally pivotal and transformational moment for Athleta. Like I really think that they were able to put themselves on the map by harnessing that relationship, and so and sort of legitimize themselves as an athletic brand. So that was really cool. Good job.
Oh, yes. Good job to everyone that was involved. I have to give that team a shout out. It was so amazing.
Yeah, great.
Okay, where are we at? Here, we have a couple more questions for each other, and we're gonna wrap it up pretty soon here. But okay,
Mm,
Krista,
yep.
speaking of transformational experiences, what is a time? Tell me about a time when being in community totally took your breath away.
Yeah, happy to. It's short and sweet. But what I want to say, I'm like aware of how often we're using the word transformational. And I'm also aware that people can get caught up on what that means and maybe even overwhelmed. And I just want to simplify it. Transformation equals change. And so when we talk about creating a transformational moment or experience for people, we're simply talking about um, that, we leave that experience feeling changed on the other side of it. And that could look like inspired. It could look like having learned a new like distinction or tool. It can mean leaving like moved. And we know that the physical
Hmm.
body, back to the like title of that podcast you mentioned at the top, like I talk about goosebumps and sometimes even hard nips as like indicators that there's like a palpable like feeling, like the body knows. And so transformation is simply about creating the conditions for change and growth and evolution. And that can happen in really small scale, simple ways, and it can happen in really large scale ways. So I wanted to get that off my chest. But you asked
Love that.
me something that took my breath away.
Yes, being in community took your breath away.
Standing in I'm probably going to butcher this, but standing in Stockholm, Sweden, at the front of, like on the stage, at the front of a church that was somewhere between 400 and 500 years old, in front of somewhere between 400 and 500 humans, Swedish humans, um, practicing yoga together and moving to and breathing together, in this like incredibly old, like beautiful church with like art and stained glass. And it completely took my breath away because when you really unpack it and break it down, what we did is we invited humans to come and be in community and connect with us and practice yoga and experience some of the world's best yoga teachers. No big deal. Um, and we didn't have stores. We had showrooms in Stockholm, one showroom, and somehow we managed to attract hundreds of people to line up and join us, um,
Wow.
for a large community yoga practice. And I think that that just really taught me people want to be together. If you build it, they will come.
Yes, it made me think about, okay, you're a brand, Lululemon has yoga. I mean,
Hmm.
had and continues to have yoga at its core. And so it's natural to think about building these
Hmm.
transformational experiences around yoga. If you're another brand, I think the challenge to brands out there is find your point of, um, point to rally around, and create something around that for people to come together and be together and feel like they belong together.
Yep. Shared interests, common interests. It can be anything. It can be a sport. It can be food. It can be craftsmanship, making. It can be writing. It can be anything. But find your common point of connection and create around that. Create community around that.
And take people's breath away.
There you go. Okay, my last question for you. What do you hope that no, what do you want Community Academy participants to get from this course?
Ah, good one. Okay, well, already having gone through one of our very first cohort, which is so special. The thing that I just could not, well, I was pretty obsessed with seeing happen in real time was the connection that was happening sort of in between our participants. So coming together on our group coaching calls, learning from us, yes, as the subject matter experts, but equally, if not more so, learning from each other. This is
Mm,
also happening when we're running our workshops, and having, participants from all walks of life, all different types of brands, like in different roles coming together and learning from, yes, us, but also learning from each other. That is what I want for every Community Academy participant, is to really benefit from that, being in community really with their fellow
mm,
participants. And then I selfishly, like, it's always been a dream of mine to have more people out in the world who see, marketing in the same way that we see it, right? See the power of building communities as, a
hmm,
surefire growth strategy,
hmm,
that just works when you do it right. Um, so yeah, selfishly, I just want to see more. I want to talk to more people out in the world. I want
hmm.
to connect with and relate to more marketers, more people in leadership roles, more decision
Hmm.
makers and influencers that believe in this way of, bringing more meaning out into the world through the brand that you represent. I want to see that. So
Here, you and me both. I always like Michelle articulates that so well. I'm so glad you all get to hear it from her. And I just want to add, like, I have been so lucky to have had moments of like total euphoria in my work as a result of being focused on this type of work, community building. And I want more people to be fully self-expressed and love their jobs. I want more marketing people in the world to love their jobs and feel like they're creating like real impact. And purpose and contribution every day. So that's something that really gets me up in the morning as we continue to build. This has been
amazing.
so
Well,
fun.
I know we should do this more often. Like, let's
Yeah.
do it. Let's be in more. Well, we talk all the time, but this
Yeah.
is our first chance to kind of share some of our topics of conversation with the world together. So I had so
Yeah.
much fun.
Me
Should we
too.
bring it home?
Yeah. Let's wrap up a few details for you. So I'll start and then I'll hand it over to you. Okay, so we have our spring cohort kicking off next week. And if you reserve your spot by May 31st, you can save $250 when you sign one person up. And because we believe this masterclass is better together, when you sign up two or more team members from the same brand or business, you can save over $1,000. Yep.
Love it.
Um, and last, from me, we'd love you to sign up for our newsletter. Follow us on social and tell your friends. We need your help to spread the word about this super meaningful work that matters and creates impact. So please follow along and
Awesome.
share.
We'll have all that info in the show notes.
Mhm.
Pretending we're really running a podcast here. So, on that note, we have our next official Brand Together sesh coming up on June 10th. We are
June
about to
12th.
announce
June
it's
12th.
June 12th. Forget what I said about the 10th. On the 10th, you can be signing up for the 12th. We have an amazing guest joining us that is a master at building communities with us within a very specific niche, I would say. So get excited for
Mhm.
that. We're going to be announcing that in a couple of days who our guest is. But again, save the date, June 12th, 11 a.m. Pacific time. And we really hope to see you there for our next Brand Together sesh.
Yeah, if you have questions or comments, we would love to hear from you. So you can DM us on our social channels. You can email us at hello@communityacademy.co and let us know what's on your mind.